സംരംഭകൻ എന്ന നിലയിലും മനുഷ്യൻ എന്ന നിലയിലും കൂടുതൽ തിരിച്ചറിവനായി കിട്ടിയ നാളുകളാണിതെന്ന് ഓർമ്മപ്പെടുത്തുകയാണ് വർമ്മ ആൻഡ് വർമ്മ ചാർട്ടേഡ് അക്കൗണ്ടന്റ് സീനിയർ പാർട്ണർ വിവേക് കൃഷ്ണ ഗോവിന്ദ്. കൂടുതൽ മനുഷ്യമുഖത്തോടെ പ്രവർത്തിക്കാനും അവനവന്റെ സംരംഭത്തെ അടുത്തറിയാനുമുള്ള യുണീക്കായ 5 മാർഗങ്ങളും അദ്ദേഹം ഇവിടെ നിർദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നു. ലെറ്റ്സ് ലിസൺ ടു വിവേക് കൃഷ്ണ ഗോവിന്ദ് ഓൺ ഡിസ്കവർ ആൻഡ് റിക്കവർ.
At the outset, let me congratulate and appreciate Channel IM and Nisha's team for the excellent initiative called Discover and Recover. The topic which I will be talking on is financial management in challenging times. And what I will try and do is to focus on 5 areas which are relevant for the MSME and small business owners and the entrepreneurial community. Which are the 5 areas? First, I'll talk on cash flow and working capital management. Second, on control over costs and expenditure. Third will be fund diversion. Fourth, on budgeting system. And the 5th point will be on proper financial reporting, internal controls and management information system. Let me start with cash flow and working capital management, because in a time of crisis, that is the most important topic. Now, profit is the catchword in every business, but profit growth does not necessarily mean more cash. You cannot spend profit, you can only spend cash. And hence we go back to that old saying that the cash is king. And good cash management simply means knowing when and where your money is and what is the best way in which you can bring your money back into your system. So basically, the entrepreneur needs to focus on the cash to cash conversion cycle. You must understand where his cash is blocked and take steps to bring the cash back by doing what? First, focus on inventory management. Ensure that very minimum stocks are maintained. Whatever inventory is in hand, try and liquidate at the earliest. Try and collect the money at the earliest. Extend the payables, the money that we owe, by negotiating and renegotiating the terms. But we must understand that the other party is also going through difficult times, so we need to be very fair in doing that. When it comes to receivables, we have to manage it better, have proper control, do a thorough review of all the receivables, debtors, outstandings, etc., and take effective and efficient steps to recover your money back at the earliest. Expedite the time taken for recovery of receivables. Also look at various other avenues for working capital financing. These days there are several options available. You may have been doing it in a certain way over a period of time, but this is a good time for you to have a rethink on your working capital financing model and possibly look at negotiating with your banks or with other agencies from where you have borrowed money. Second, I move on to control over costs and expenditure. At this point in time, cost reduction is also an extremely important exercise, and we have realized over the last few days that a large amount of cost can actually be saved. We have understood the value of work at home. Suddenly, very large office spaces and paying substantial rent, etc., for swanky offices doesn't really make much sense anymore. So for businesses for which it is not essential, we must certainly look at alternate modes of working whereby costs can be reduced. Try and reduce your fixed costs and try to the extent possible to convert fixed costs into variable costs wherever possible. Leasing model or rental models, etc., wherever possible. Salary is the single most, in most businesses, the single largest expenditure in the business. Reducing salary, especially in a difficult time, is not going to be easy. Steps must be taken, but definitely that has to be done in consultation with your employees. They have been loyal and working with you, and they're going through hard times. So please, while trying to reduce the salary expenditure, try and do it without causing turbulence. Look at different models, maybe a revenue sharing model, or because the employee also has to understand that the entrepreneur is going through difficult times. So it has to be a balance and a trade-off between the two. So it should be done in a very, very, very systematic manner by staff and employees, taking them also into confidence. And look at various other expenses. Several line items are there in each of your businesses. Wherever you can reduce, kindly take steps to reduce your costs. Third point is fund diversion. Even otherwise, as Malayalis, we are known for it. Nammada bhashe parna rolling. This is not the time for rolling. We must keep that very, very, very clearly in mind, that long-term funds, if we are borrowing, it should be used for long-term purposes. Short-term funds, if we are borrowing, we should use it for short-term purposes. There should not be a rolling working capital loan എടുത്തിട്ട് വീട് മേടിച്ചു അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഹൗസിംഗ് ലോൺ എടുത്തിട്ട് അത് ബിസിനസ്സിൻ്റെ ഇൻവെൻട്രിക്ക് വേണ്ടി യൂസ് ചെയ്തു. This is not the time for that. So every specific loan instrument is given and sanctioned for a specific reason. Ensure that your loans are used only for the purpose for which it was sanctioned. Do not divert money from one purpose to another and finally land in a situation where you are going to have a huge interest burden hitting you and also land in problem of NPA with your banks. Fourth point is again very important, budgeting. One may wonder in a situation like this, how do you even budget? There's so much of uncertainty. What are we budgeting right now? So in a situation like that, the best model of budgeting is called zero-based budgeting, which means it's like you're starting afresh, as though you're on year zero, as though the previous year did not exist. You learn from whatever you have done in your business from earlier years, but when you're sitting on your budgeting table, sit with a fresh thinking hat on and every line item, reassess it. Typically what you do in the historical budget is to കഴിഞ്ഞ കൊല്ലത്തിലേക്ക് ഒരു 10% ആഡ് ചെയ്തു അല്ലെങ്കിൽ 15% ആഡ് ചെയ്തു to both revenue as well as to expenditure. But in zero-based budgeting, that is not the mode. Every line item, look at it independently. If it is income, is there a different way of earning more revenues? Or look at alternative ways of increasing your revenue streams. Similarly, when it comes to costs, have a very clear understanding of where your money is being spent and how it's being spent, and see whether you can look at other ways to reduce your expenditure, thereby improve on your bottom line. So go for zero-based budgeting at this point in time. And the fifth point is have a very good financial reporting, internal control, MIS, audit mechanism in place, because this is a time for you to set your house in order. It's also a time for you to learn. As an entrepreneur, if you have no idea about accounting and accounting principles, etc., this is a good time for you to learn. It is important for an entrepreneur to also have a basic understanding of what is a general ledger, what is a trial balance, what is a bank reconciliation, what is a balance sheet, what is a profit and loss account. There are a lot of online courses, including Harvard Business School is also offering free online courses. So there are many options which are available for entrepreneurs to study the fundamentals. I'm not saying you should become an expert in quick time. For that you can employ a good accountant and have your auditor, etc. But you must necessarily have an understanding of what are the accounts related, finance related documents which are maintained, and what are the guiding principles behind that, and have a good MIS system in place. Management information system varies from business to business. So typically in your business, whatever it is that you want, the critical parameters, all those items must be captured in an MIS, and you must get that report either on a monthly or fortnightly or weekly or sometimes even a daily basis if it is very critical. But devise a good MIS system and ensure that you have a good robust internal control system in place. Even in your absence, even in a time of crisis, this should be a situation where the business is able to run. Systems are in place, processes are in place. Even if it is a small business, ensure that you have good systems and processes in place, and that everything is documented well and everything is accounted for properly, so that even in your absence, the business will run in a very smooth manner. So these are the five. There are many other things which I would like to talk about, but 5 points which I thought are most critical in the current scenario. Before I close, let me also add that this is a time for you to communicate very effectively to all your stakeholders, employees, customers, vendors, bankers. Give them the confidence that you have that ability, you have the willpower, you have the grit to succeed in these challenging times. These are very difficult times for all of us, but it also gives us a time to reflect, to reconsider, to reconnect. And we should also evolve new models. We are going back to a very different environment, a much cleaner environment, a much more probably a different perspective for all of us when we get back to our offices once the lockdown is over. So with this new learnings that we've developed over the past few days, let us evolve into better human beings and go back with more humility and a greater acceptance of the reality around us, and collectively as a force let us all come together. It is important, and no longer can we be competing against one another. We have to go what is called co-opetition, or the word competition is out now. So you work together in a very collective manner, and as an ecosystem let us all come together, work together for our collective improvement. And I'm sure that these difficult times will make us much better human beings, and it will also ensure that our businesses thrive in the years ahead. I wish you the very best. God bless you.